Hey y'all, I'm Paige Feldman. I'm a writer and director, and here on this YouTube channel, I'm documenting the making of my debut feature as a writer-director. It's called Back to You, and it's a contained romantic comedy, and I am currently just at the end of a 2-week break between drafts before I dive back in to do a final tighten and polish before my script is ready for a table read. A table read that will be scheduled as soon as the WGA strike is resolved, obviously, hopefully favorably for all writers, not just in the Guild, but anyone who wants to make a career as a writer in Hollywood. So while I'm letting myself get a little bit of separation from the script, I want to talk to you about a huge filmmaking mistake that I saw this past week, something that would probably be really easy for anyone to make. But I wanted to address it here because it's also like super easy just to fix it. So this past week, I was on a little vacation in Chicago. It happily coincided with my 2-week break, or I kind of planned to be done with the script so that it would be part of it, but you know, let's just say happily coincided. And on my way to a show, I saw a sign on a lamppost, a sign advertising a film premiere, which was really cool because love supporting independent film, love seeing what other filmmakers are doing, and I know Chicago has a pretty great and robust indie film scene. So just to give you some context for this, because the title's great, the flyer is great, I'm gonna just put it up here. The ill-conceived, poorly executed housewarming party of Amy and Jamie. Look at this whole, like, there's red peppers, there's like a pride flag ribbon, there's wine, there's vampire fangs. Like, I don't even know what this is, but it looks really intriguing and fun. And someone spent a lot of time and effort and energy coming up with this flyer and then posting it up on a lamppost. Now, if you can do, you know, like math as far as like when I'm talking to you right now and what a week ago was, Saturday, June 24th, I was not in Chicago. So I had missed this premiere. But the one thing that I couldn't find out is anything else about the film. All I have here is a title, the fact that there was a premiere at the Facets Theater days before, a week before I was even in Chicago, and the fact that it's a short independent comedy film. That's basically it. So I see this flyer and I'm like, I want to see this. I want to see a trailer. I want to know more about the filmmakers. Like, what's this deal? And there is no obvious way to contact anyone, to see more information. It's just, I just don't understand why someone would spend so much time and effort and energy on this flyer, on this advertising, and on a film itself, because that's so much time and effort and energy, and not do everything they could to make sure that people could see it if they wanted to. Now, most people, I'm sure, would pass this flyer, see they'd miss the premiere, and then be like, oh, that's too bad. Cool title, though. And like move on with their day. But I'm not most people, and I'm curious. So I decided to do a Google search. And when I searched last week, I came up with nothing. I actually did a Google search earlier today as I was preparing to film this video to kind of show you what the nothing I found was. And it turns out that in the interim, between last week and today, they did post some stuff up on YouTube. So I will show you that in this screenshot here. There's a, looks like a trailer, which was up 30 days ago, but it was definitely not up when I Googled on the streets of Chicago. And it looks like the whole 35-minute film, which tons of effort and energy, up on YouTube. It's great. But it wasn't up when I searched the other day. And if I hadn't decided to make a video about this to be like, hey, market your film, find a way to be accessible, because people will see your flyer even after your event and want to see your film, there is it's like 100% chance I would never have Googled it again. So all that being said, my point's a little bit less sharp than it would have been if I had made this video immediately upon seeing this flyer. But all that being said, the biggest mistake that these filmmakers made is not having a website or contact information available, or even their names on this flyer. Because why would you go through the time and effort and energy of making a film and then advertising a screening of that film, of a premiere, and not ensure that people who saw that flyer and couldn't make it to your premiere, but were interested nonetheless, had a way of finding the film? So my big advice to all of you out there, whether you're a filmmaker or a novelist or a poet or an artist or a musician, whatever kind of art you do, food stylist, anything, have a website. Now, I'm sure what you're thinking right now is, websites are expensive and I don't know how to design things and it takes a ton of time. I'm going to give one word: Instagram. Get yourself an Instagram handle specifically for your film, specifically for your art project, specifically for you as an artist. Populate it. Take a day, take a few hours. If you're a filmmaker, populate it with 9 still frames from your film. Create a reel of your trailer. Add a story about any sort of premiere or screening you're having and put it in your highlights. And then have one picture that has your name, your contact information, all of the credits for the cast and crew, ways people can get a hold of you, and tag people in it. And then you're done. You have a web presence. Because even if you'll notice these search results, even despite having now the trailer posted on YouTube, I guess publicly and available for search, and the film itself up on YouTube, there is no like Instagram contact information way of reaching these filmmakers. You can maybe get them on YouTube, but that's not personal. That's not a way that you feel like you can fully interact with somebody, especially as a filmmaker. And in my development exec days, if I just saw that someone only had a YouTube channel, I'd be like, well, I guess I can't contact them. But Instagram, I could shoot them a DM. Now, if you are a writer of screenplays or novels or poems, you actually could do like an image of a poem on your Instagram. But if you feel like you're more of a wordsmith and someone whose work doesn't lend itself to Instagram, WordPress is a great free alternative. Now, obviously, you don't necessarily get to choose your whole URL situation with WordPress, but having any website, any mode of contacting you, of sharing your work, of sharing what you're all about, can be so helpful if someone catches a glimpse of your work or hears about it from someone who knows you and wants to know more information. And then there are the paid options. If you feel like Instagram is just not enough for you, not professional enough for whatever reason, and WordPress is too 2005, the next option is to buy a URL and to get a website hosted on a hosting service like Squarespace or Wix. This is not a sponsored video. Although Squarespace, if you want to sponsor me, I have like 7 websites with you. I like Squarespace a lot. I've never tried Wix, so I can't compare and contrast. I just started with Squarespace, really dug their interface, how easy it is to customize all that. And you can create a website. A URL costs minimum around $20 a year. Squarespace hosting, I believe, is $168 to $188, something in there. So all in, you're at about $200 for a year of a website. And that about $200 a year cost may sound exorbitant to you if you're just not the kind of person who really wants to have a huge presence or doesn't need anything more than just a page with your contact information on it, which if that's all you need, like honestly, Instagram, that's the best way to go. You can just post a picture of your contact information or some stills from your film, some images of your art, some images of a script of like a First Page Friday situation and call it a day. As long as it's up, you don't necessarily need to keep it updated. But for me, I love having different pages to showcase each of my different films, each of my different scripts, and different aspects of what I do and who I am. So I'm gonna throw up here just as an example of what a web page can look like. It's my page for How to Fall in Love the Hard Way. So you can see it's pretty extensive. I have a list of all of the episodes, a summary of what the show's about, cast headshots and bios, director's statement, my bio, and links to listen to all of these episodes. And then a little bit less extensive is Interrobang. It's pretty basic. There's trailer, there's an explanation, there's links. But the most important thing is that if someone Googles either of these projects, they're going to be able to get information on them, be able to contact me about them, and know how and where to watch or listen to them. That's kind of the point of any sort of advertising, is to get people aware of what you're doing and interested in looking for your art, and then make them fans. Also, if they're fans who maybe have some power, have some money, want to collaborate with you, give them a way to contact you. So that's what my websites do. They also serve as an online portfolio, an online resume, and I find them very useful when I'm applying for fellowships or other sorts of opportunities. Now, one thing about my Interrobang page, which I'll put back up here, is that it is a little bit out of date. It's not quite as nice and fancy as I want it to be. I say fancy, I mean, like, I have a whole press kit that's not even up on this site. I have a longer form video with director selects from the show. I have things that I could be putting on this website, an effort I could be putting into it that I'm not. When I was thinking about what am I going to be doing between my next revision, once that's done for Back to You, and the times such as the WGA strike is over and I'll be able to do my table read, the thing I'm going to be doing, I've decided, is revamping my website, and I will be sharing that process with you. So if you are interested in setting up your own website for your own creative endeavors, hopefully you can watch my process and it'll inspire you to figure out how to get your website, your bio, your artist statement, whatever, into shape where you feel really comfortable and confident with it, and can use it for fellowship applications or just to have a more professional presence and present yourself as the artist, the professional artist that you want to be. And for me, because the next step after the strike is over, beyond the table read, is going to be to start going out to investors and producers and potentially even distributors. I want to make sure I have my ducks in a row so that when I'm going out to them, I can present myself with my websites as a professional filmmaker, as someone who, while I might not be the most experienced, well, this might be the first time I'm approaching investors as a filmmaker as opposed to as an acquisitions and development executive when I was working as one, I know the business and I am a solid investment. And having a put together website with all of my information up to date and reflecting who I am as an artist, because a professional doesn't mean stuffy or boring. It means, at least for an artist in storytelling, presenting your story fully and completely and in a package that's easily digestible and easily repeatable, so that when an investor or a producer or a financier, anyone steps away from the website, they'll be able to say, I know who Paige Feldman is. That's the goal. So I'm going to be working on that once I finish my revision, getting that website all up to date and ready to go for such time as I can go out to these investors and financiers and producers. And I'll be really excited to share everything I'm doing with you as I do it, as always. But back to the point of this video. This flyer, the ill-conceived, poorly executed housewarming party of Amy and Jamie. I mean, this movie looks cool. I'm really excited that one day ago, according to the Google results, they actually did get their film up on the internet so I can watch it. But it shouldn't have taken them over 2 weeks to get that done. They should have had their trailer up. They should have an Instagram or a website up where I could have tracked it and been like, yes, I will follow you. Yes, I'm going to make sure that whenever you do premiere this online, I am there. Because without this video right now, I wouldn't have searched again. I would have just assumed that they didn't know what they were doing and been like, oh, that's a shame, and then moved on. So make sure, if you're advertising for your film, you have everything in place to ensure that other people can see it, even if they miss your premiere, even if you don't know them. Because advertising works, I guess, especially when you have such a cool title and flyer. Like, seriously, I'm really into this whole design. That's what I got for today. Make sure that you have a way people can contact you, because if you don't, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. I'll put a link to the video I found on YouTube of this short film in the comment, or not in the comments, in the description. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't vouch for it, but I did a whole video on it, so might as well. And next week I'll be talking about my revision process because I gotta get back to my tighten and polish in just a couple days, so I will have more for you on that then. And if you have a website or an Instagram, or you're an artist and you just want to share that, drop it in the comments. I will definitely check it out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next week with more Cake Fight Presents The Making Of.